So we had our threshold guardians. Now we want to cross the threshold and our hero's journey. And to talk about that, going into the gap and expansive thinking, we're going to welcome up Celia Askinovich, founder and editor-in-chief of Switchboard Magazine, Nicholas Bruckman, founder of People's Television Inc., Christy Marchese, founder and CEO of Kinema, and our moderator is Renee Jones, who is partner and chief of impact at United Talent Agency and also an advisor to the Impact Lounge. Please come on up. Yep, mic's on there. Mic's on there.
Hi. How's it going? Hey, nice to meet you. Where should I go? Where do we? Perfect. Yeah. Cool.
Very bright. Hi, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning. So many fun Impact friends here. I love it. It's like reunion time for sure. Thank you, Heather. I mean, what you've built is incredible. And through UTA Foundation, we're so proud to be supporting all your efforts at all your festivals and things. So it's wonderful to be here. I'm thrilled to have this panel, and my brain is kind of spinning, to be honest, because between last night's conversations and this morning, there's just so much to unpack. And our three panelists here today also have worn so many hats in their careers. It's also, been so interesting to get to know you and read about you because, unlike me, I've been at UTA since the inception of the foundation in 2004. So you all have moved around a lot. And I think it's just you're very entrepreneurial and you've really tried to, as we talk about our topic, identify opportunities. And in this rapidly changing environment, I think it's just so important. So before we jump in with some of the questions, I'd love for you all just to take a minute to kind of level set with everybody to talk about your current role and what you're working on, and then we can dive into some of the questions. So do you want to kick us off?
Sure. Hi, I'm Christy Marchese, and I'm the founder and CEO of Kinema. And we're a global streaming and screening events platform helping independent filmmakers distribute direct to audience through events and streaming. Is that brief?
Perfect. Good. Love it.
My name is Celia Aniskovich. I am the founder and editor-in-chief of Switchboard Magazine, which is a digital long-form nonfiction, although starting next week we will also be publishing fiction, publication that serves as an IP generator for film and TV adaptations. So people option our articles as well as the short films that we acquire, 4 of which this year were Oscar qualified. We won the Critics' Choice. I like to brag about.
Congrats.
Talk about independent filmmaking, beating Netflix and HBO in our first Critics' Choice appearance. We were very excited about. But I am also, my other hat is that I am a documentary film director. And so I see it from both sides and have made independent films as well as I just released one for Amazon and am currently working on one for Netflix. So I sort of have a complicated relationship as well with this merger conversation that I'm excited to get into.
Awesome. I'm Nicholas Bruckman, also half documentary director, half production company and studio owner. People's TV produces independent films and documentaries, both for streamers and also for brands. And we work with Fortune 100 companies, foundations, and nonprofits to help them tell their stories and also to connect them with independent filmmakers. And I'm just super stoked to be in Park City one last time with all of you and so many old friends.
Absolutely. So let's jump in. And given all the, industry recent upheavals, whether it's post-strike, whether keep talking about these mergers and the streaming wars, like how has your approach changed? Do you want to kick us off, Christy?
I can jump into this. So our approach has changed a lot over the last few years because we've been responding to different problems. When we started Kinema, we first were looking at the theatrical market and seeing that some of the films that we were working with at my last company, which was an impact agency called Picture Motion, would get a limited theatrical release. And so we tried and see how we could expand that through in-person screenings. But over the last 5 years, we went from a company supporting in-person screenings, doing online screenings during the pandemic, then doing direct to audience. So we've been responding all along the way, but the kind of core goal has been autonomy, and I guess freedom and being able to run your own campaign. And so we built the platform so that you can get paid in real time, you get audience data in real time, you control your rights, you control your pricing, and you can control how you market the film. So when we see mergers and stuff like this and we see less buyers in the market, we've been building along the way a set of tools and an audience for you to distribute your film to that allows you to have much more control and not be reliant on the limited numbers of buyers.
Amazing. Would either of you like to jump in?
Sure. Yeah. I think, to your point, for us, not being reliant, not being dependent is the biggest thing. And I think we think a lot at Switchboard about access and ownership. I am, as a documentary film director, 3 of my films got lost in the HBO Max merger, gone forever, written off as a tax write-off. No one can ever see them again. And that was sort of my wake-up call of, that's not my film. I don't own any part of that. And so Switchboard, not only do we publish these articles that turn into things and the shorts, we have a 50-50 profit share model. Every dollar that comes in gets split with our writers, with our filmmakers for the adaptations that come out of them. We want to sort of put that back in their hands and say, you should have control over how your story moves, over how it's presented. But also, we really see it because, look, a lot of independent filmmakers come to us and say, great, but this short, I'm making it because I want to be on Netflix. And we don't want to say no to that. And so we also, we help them set that up as a calling card. And we use that in a way that I think, allows them to look in both directions. And not just say I have to pitch straight in, but let me create something that demonstrates that I can do this. On my director hat side, I'll say I have a film that I just put out on Amazon called Merchants of Joy, which is about Christmas tree salesmen in New York City, which is very fun. And it sort of came to be because of a Sundance meeting I have, so lovely to be back here. But I think what's so interesting is I tell people the story of Christmas tree salesman in New York City. Most people don't know this, but all the trees sold in New York are sold by one of 5 people. And so it's this kind of benevolent mafia, and everyone says, well, of course Amazon bought that. That's a no-brainer, Doc. And I say, well, I spent 3 years maxing out credit cards, and I can tell you it wasn't a no-brainer. But it became very apparent to me very quickly, talk about impact too, that there was a story here of these 5 families that was so impactful, that spoke to so many people. And I said immediately, we're not going to pitch this out. We're going to do this independently. And we got independent financing. And we were able to then bring it to a streamer. Artist Equity, Ben Affleck and Matt Damon's company came in. They're now working on a narrative adaptation of the documentary. So this idea that they can't work together, I also think is important to challenge, that the mergers and everything that's happening are awful. And I think we can't stress them enough that this could be the end of a lot for people. But also I think the people that work at those places are people like us who want to see good films made. They're not, the couple shareholders that are going to benefit. And I think we can find ways to work with each other.
Yeah, totally agree. I had the very lucky experience early in my career with my first film being here at Sundance, a film called Valley of Saints. It won the Audience Award. I was in my mid-20s.
Congrats.
Some of the people in the audience were there a long time ago. But what I was lucky was that after I was on stage and I walked off and I thought, okay, cool, I'm either just going to get my next, it was a total art house movie. We shot it in Kashmir and the Kashmiri language where no movie had been made, and I was wanting to tell stories about underrepresented people who'd never been on screen, kind of, before it was cool. And we had the realization right away that actually that type of independent success does not necessarily open the doors to financing of those types of projects, and really early on began thinking about what are the ways to make the sheer economics of independent, mostly documentary, but also narrative financing work. And I try to be very transparent. I think my audience is mostly young filmmakers as opposed to industry people trying to understand how I've navigated being a doc director, running a production company, making a film every couple of years since. And in the last 3 films I've made, all of which have had some kind of sort of indie paper success, a South by or Tribeca premiere, a Emmy nomination, a PBS broadcast, a streaming license, all of that money often only adds up to $300,000 to $500,000. And there's obviously a lot of variations in that. And of course, 5 or 10 of the movies out of this festival will be bought for 1.5, which is probably still their whole budget. And so the question for me really fundamentally is, where does the other $800,000 come from? Maybe 500. These numbers are obviously fungible, but I think it's important to talk about them directly. And the solution that I've come up with and have been developing with my team over the last couple of years, and have worked with some folks in the audience with, is getting a variety of other impact stakeholders, brands, foundations, and nonprofits to fill that gap. And so, talk more, and I'll be speaking on a panel Sunday more specifically about that. But that's where I think there's a great opportunity to bridge impact and solve that literal gap of money that I think is what's breaking the film industry right now.
Well, speaking of our session Into the Gap, and I think, here we are at Impact Lounge, and impact has been core to all of your careers and kind of your guiding, North Star. So I'm curious, what's hidden in there right now that excites you? Because you're touching on it, Nicholas. And is it the brand aspect, or what is it that you think is a real opportunity for folks to really think about, that we have the old model, the new model, but what's in there that we should, unpack a little bit?
Sure. Well, I'll just start with the brand piece. And yes, that's part of what I've been focused on. I don't think it's the only element, and I don't necessarily want, to be here in Boulder next year and every movie is brought to you by Bank of America. Like, I don't think that's necessarily the world we want to live in, but I do think 100% basically every brand, and I know, Christy works in a big holding company and can speak more to what those conversations at the Fortune 100s are having right now. But all of them are looking to connect with folks in deeper, more meaningful, non-influencer, non-content creator way. Everything that's happening, in my opinion, with AI and social media algorithms are obviously driving people towards a pendulum swing of wanting longer form authenticity and to have audiences and platforms like this that they simply cannot buy. And so, as a way of example, we worked with the brand Oatly alongside Brian Newman, who spoke on the last panel, doing the amazing Future Film Coalition work, to do a totally independent investigative doc-series that was, for them, cheaper than the Super Bowl commercial. They did do a Super Bowl commercial the previous year, but it was 4 half-hour episodes of TV that premiered at Tribeca and got amazing earned media, and also makes them look cool. And I think there's a lot of nuances in how we did that successfully, and there's a lot of bad examples of branded content and entertainment, and a lot of discussions happening at Sundance. But I think it's really promising, and I think if they're navigated very carefully on a very elegant tightrope of creative control and authenticity, that can be one of the solutions to the many challenges that people have been talking about today.
I also think the gap that we're seeing, at least at Switchboard, that really excites me is finding your audience. That a streamer has to speak to 20 million people. So there is, someone brought it up earlier, there is an element of just whether it's lowest common denominator or whatever it is, they have to hit metrics, and their algorithm's telling them something. For example, shorts, I think, are often sort of dismissed as this little, and we really challenge that. We had a film, Saving Superman, which is the film that won the Critics' Choice, that Oscar qualified, that was the most awarded of any short on the festival circuit this year. The story was in his backyard. It was about an autistic man in Indiana who dresses up as Superman in his July 4th parade every year, and had sort of became this cult hero. But he could make the short. And so he made it. It's stunningly beautiful. The team, we were able to connect with Brendan Fraser, who has an autistic son and is from Indianapolis as well. Wow. He joined the film. He went on the Kelly Clarkson show to talk about this film and Jonathan, the protagonist. We have 300,000 views and counting on this YouTube short that we released via Switchboard. Again, beat out Netflix and HBO with these huge campaigns, and we reached the audience that we wanted. We weren't trying to reach everybody, and so it's being used in schools, it's being used in companies, it's being used everywhere. And so, whether it's that or a short we had that Oscar qualified but didn't move forward, that found funding for their next feature through the audience, that someone saw it and said that this reminds me of my home, and this reminds me, I think I'm excited that we can speak again, not just to the masses always, and find success in finding our audience.
I think building off that, technology has allowed us to be able to connect to audiences more directly. It's how, when we build the platform, it's so filmmakers can build that email list, start to build that direct relationship. but technology has also created some bad things. And so I think one of the opportunities we see is in the stories you're telling. So on the negative side, you have the TikTokification of storytelling that's pushing towards vertical dramas to keep you flipping and keep you engaged. And the storytelling quality is maybe a little bit lower than of standard it could be. If anybody listened to Ben Affleck and Matt Damon on Joe Rogan, not that I expect this room to be big Joe Rogan fans, but if you listen to it, which I do recommend, they talk about how the notes they're getting from Netflix are say the plot over and over again, say the title over and over again to remind audiences because they're probably on a second screen, or take that budget for the big explosion in the third act and put it in the first so you get people kind of watching earlier and count those minutes. That's changing how stories are being told. But I think the opportunity there is to kind of go back to what makes really, really good storytelling, and that's where I can bring up my favorite topic, which is heated rivalry. So if anybody's seen it...
Okay, can I just bring this up? Oh my gosh, I have a 16-year-old daughter, and I said, hey, I have a show we should watch together, Heated Rivalry. She's like, Mom, it's like Euphoria. I do not want to watch it with you. And I'm like, okay. So anyway, go ahead.
See, but yes, we all have a common language around it. Like, how many people want to live in the cottage? Like, we know there's been a lot of conversation about fandom and world building. If you are on your phone, you're missing scenes. If you wonder why you cried at the end of episode 5 when Wolf Parade came on, it's because they played it at the beginning of episode 3. It's really good storytelling. And so I think it's an opportunity for independent artists on a budget to go back to the roots of good storytelling.
Also, just to say that's based on IP, a book. So
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Yes. Had a built-in fan base to start, which was really important as well.
And good world building, because there's a whole series for it.
Yep.
So, Celia, I'm curious how and why you thought there was a gap in the marketplace around having another industry publication. What made you dive in, particularly now?
So we launched Switchboard at Sundance last year, so a year ago today, and everyone was like, what the fuck? Like, you're starting a magazine, and you're like, what is wrong with you? I love this question because I think I have lots of successful things I've done, but I think it's the most successful thing I've done to date, the thing I'm the most proud of. I look at Switchboard, I heard about this Christmas tree story through an article, and as a documentary director, and I think all of us probably have spent years optioning articles or looking for stories, and it always feels like one arm isn't speaking to the other. There's a print publication that publishes something and they're not thinking adaptation in mind, or there's a filmmaker coming in and the number of stories I've come in and they say, oh, well, none of those people actually want to sit down and talk to you. They would only do the article. They don't want to be on camera. And you're like, oh, God. So we publish everything with adaptation first and foremost. Of course, it has to be a good story. I say to people, we publish everything, but the litmus test is you hear about the story and you say, damn, that should be a movie, right? Like, that's our litmus. But that means true crime, it means human interest, and what it does, and we have examples of this, like stories that went to buyers that they said, we don't know, and we said, okay, we're gonna put an investigative journalist on this, and we're gonna beat it out to 20,000 words, and you're gonna see there's an incredible thing here, and then they're able to read it, and they're able to see it, and we've talked to the contributors and included them and done the ethical thing of saying, it's not going to be a surprise. Someone wants to interview. That's what this is for. And they sign their appearance release before the article publishes. So the adapter knows that those rights are there. We get their life rights. They're also paid if their film gets turned into a narrative film, so they're compensated. So all of that is set up before we ever publish. And so it felt like Switchboard was not just, I don't think we need a lot more publications, there are a lot of them, but to me, it's not a publication. It's filling a gap of, it's harder than ever to make something. How can we make it easier for whether it's independent financiers, brands, streamers to say yes to storytellers who want to make their films?
Nicholas, do you want to add to that with the work you're doing both inside the traditional system or independent around impact and, what's giving you hope and joy?
Sure, hope and joy. Being at Sundance is giving me hope and joy. And I think what you're doing is awesome. First of all, I'm just swimming in how cool that pipeline that you're generating is. And what I've discovered over the last couple of years in making independent films that have alternative financing models. So I directed a film called Not Going Quietly about a famous healthcare activist named Adi Barkan, who was dying of ALS at the time. And it was not a film that Hulu wanted to buy at the pre-sale, though they bought it later. What we discovered is that at the time of building out these stories, you have to create both an audience and a sort of financial stakeholder community around the film. And so to do that, we did both of the things that are being talked about. One is the social media videos. We developed Adi's voice as a character, actually doing social media work with him while making the film, which is really unusual, and built this kind of big character presence around him. But also, we worked very closely with him and with people involved in ALS and progressive activism that he was involved in to get the movie financed. And there's no, I think, version of that where like a traditional version of getting that film financed would have been made. I veered very off course into crypto and made a film about NFTs that's on Netflix now called Minted, The Rise and Fall of the NFT. I encourage you guys to check it out, even if you hate NFTs, which most people do. You will enjoy the schadenfreude of seeing people lose lots of money on NFTs, but you will also learn something interesting about the blockchain. And what we did for that project is similarly find people who felt that this story had never been told in the proper way, use crypto to raise financing for the film, which we can talk about more, set up fiscal sponsorship and all of the other tools that are available. The really critical thing, though, to all of these examples, and especially the Oatly project, because the Oatly documentary is about milk that was paid for by Oatly, and it's not extremely friendly towards milk, but it's not a takedown piece either. It's a cultural exploration of the Got Milk campaign of the 90s. With all of these is to have very clear expectations and deal terms and agreements with these partners about these being artist-driven projects and all of the benefits that might be given to the donor, whether it's a rich EP or production company or celebrity, who I think a great one can be extremely valuable, whether it's a brand, whether it's a foundation, and the way we did with Not Going Quietly. Really, really clear agreements that the project is going to be artist-driven and not to cede editorial control with the exception of possible legal or other kind of things around it. And if you do that, I think the outcome, the positive outcome for the funder and financier is way higher than all of these kinds of projects which turn into soupy promotional mess, or they're ads for crypto or ads for plant milk or rah-rah activism stories. And so that is what I really want to impart on people today trying to explore these partnerships, is that you can engage them ethically while retaining your artistic independence and not feel like you're giving up on the art because you've brought in these types of partnerships to make the project happen.
If you can believe, our time is up, and I wanted just a few parting words because you didn't have a chance to end or answer this last question, and what you're doing is so important. So do you want to bring us home?
Just what's bringing me joy?
Well, joy in what you're doing, yes.
Heated rivalry? Like, do I bring that up again?
Yeah.
Okay.
We can talk about that separately.
I will say it's the artists in the room, the creatives. What we get to see, we are a platform we support, but all the campaigns that have done so well are just the creativity, the ingenuity, the thoughtfulness, the relationship building that's happening with the filmmakers we get to work with. And you can collaborate with other platforms. There's a filmmaker here, if Sanjay's still here, his film was on our platform. Yeah, he released with us for a few months. You had an incredible campaign for Gather, and if I can say, you sold to Netflix about a year later. So you can collaborate, and you can prove that there's an audience for your film and then get other opportunities too.
Okay, on that positive note, we're going to wrap it up, but thank you all very much. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thanks,
Thank you,
everybody.
everyone. Yep, you can just leave those right on your chairs. Thank you so much, you all. And yes, I should have called this out earlier, but UTA Foundation is one of our supporters and year-round supporters. So huge thanks to them.